Downsizing is all set to be a big motor industry buzzword in 2008. With the environment and legislation all attempting to make life hard for the average motorist's conscience, not to mention their wallet, many people are expected to change their existing car for a smaller one in the coming months. Thank goodness then that the city car sector is ablaze with two new sub £10,000 talents, the Renault Twingo and the Fiat 500. Both offer a fun and trendy youthful image, but can the Twingo's cheeky handling promise possibly compete with the 500's cute looks and effortless style? On the outside, things certainly seem quite racy. This is the mid-range 1.2 litre Dynamique, and although the overall shape is tall and boxy, not a patch on the original Twingo's neat design, you get alloys, bulging wheel arches and silver accents around the fog lights. The stripes are optional. Unfortunately, issues emerge as soon as you go to get in. These door handles may be an attempt at panache, but they feel cheap and are awkward to use, setting a sorry tone for the interior. Sadly, it's also an accurate one. Having the rev counter all on its own in front of the driver creates an air of sporting intent, and we like the easy-to-read digital speedometer. But why is it positioned closer to the passenger? And the stereo here looks like an afterthought. Then there are the plastics. Horrible, scratchy, hard-feeling plastics everywhere. And no, using various shades of beigey grey doesn't help. Still, passenger space is adequate and the individual sliding rear seats a handy innovation. Shame, Renault might have better spent the money making the front chairs comfortable. Fired it up! Ignore the fact that you can feel the steering column moving by the clutch pedal and things do start to improve. Although this 74 brake horsepower naturally aspirated 1.2 lacks the zing of its turbocharged big brother in the Twingo GT, it certainly feels enthusiastic. Enthusiasm doesn't exactly equal raw speed, as it turns out, but the 5-speed gearbox is helpful enough to keep things moving sweetly. And this Twingo returns nearly 50 miles per gallon. If anything really saves the Renault from collapsing into mediocrity, it's the handling. Sitting quite high with the Twingo's tall body and relatively soft suspension, initial turn-in generates a disconcerting moment of lean, but once you're used to this, it makes decent backroad pace. Considering the Dynamique isn't any kind of performance model, there's a forthcoming Renault Sport version for that, it does all right. The trouble is, as soon as you slow down, you start noticing the problems again, like those plastics. And the back-to-front wipers, cheapening the right-hand drive conversion but compromising wet weather visibility. And then you bang your head on the low door line getting out. And then someone goes and parks a Fiat 500 right next to you. And this is the biggest problem for everyone in the city car sector. The Fiat is so exciting, everything else looks like old hat. The Twingo may be marginally roomier and slightly better to drive at higher speeds, but compared to the funky 500, it falls disappointingly flat. As for good points, there's the sporty image and it's practical, the enthusiastic driving experience, and those neat rear seats. On the downside, the cabin looks and feels cheap. There's poor detailing, and downsizers can do much better.